I've started a new channel called Lunila Tales. Please subscribe and watch my best stories there. Link is in the description. They say a man only screams like a terrified goat when he has seen something truly impossible. I did not believe that until tonight, because I am the man who screamed, and I saw something worse than impossible. I saw something that made no sound at all as it killed. My name is Rex Dalton, wilderness guide, an occasional expert at doing incredibly stupid things in lonely forests. Tonight I had gone camping alone in the Ironwood National Reserve. A quiet night, a campfire, a cup of bitter coffee, and nothing but the sound of the wind scraping through the pines. Peaceful. That was the first clue that I should have known disaster was coming. My life only ever gives me peace when it is about to throw a meteor in my face. And tonight it did that literally. The sky tore open. That is exactly what it looked like. 1 second nothing, the next a long silver line burned through the clouds above me like a blade slicing silk. A blazing shape crashed through the atmosphere trailing fire and molten metal. My first thought was excellent, a meteor. Because who does not enjoy being vaporized during a peaceful camping trip? Then I saw it wobble and spin erratically. It was no rock. It was a ship. My fishing rod fell out of my hand. Dear Diary, today I forgot how gravity works. Then a sonic boom cracked the sky in half, slamming into my chest like a freight train. The ship roared overhead and hit the far valley with a blast that sent flocks of birds screaming in every direction. The trees bent. My fire went out. And yes, I screamed like a terrified goat. I stared toward the crash site, heart hammering like it wanted to break out of my ribs and sprint home without me. I told myself to ignore it. Walk away. Pretend it never happened. Real life is already complicated enough. I am behind on taxes. I do not even understand cryptocurrency. Aliens would be too much. So I stood up, dusted myself off, looked in the direction of the crash, and started walking directly toward it. Because I am not smart. The Ironwood Reserve Valley is not a friendly place. Not to hikers, not to hunters, and especially not to mysterious visitors arriving in flaming interstellar vessels. Still, I climbed over fallen logs and pushed through thick bushes, moving fast. Something about the crash pulled me forward. Curiosity, maybe. Fear, definitely. A small part of me whispered that I had seen something like this before. Something familiar. But that made no sense. I am a simple wilderness guide. My life holds no secrets. After 30 minutes I reached the crash site. The ship was a shattered silver husk half buried in a smoking crater. It was long, sleek, and nothing like human designs. I crept closer. Strange symbols pulsed faintly along its hull like breathing light. A gust of air hissed from a crack and scorched the leaves nearby. I felt a primal warning inside my chest. Leave now. But of course I ignored it. Again. This is why I avoid self-help books. They would hate me. Something moved behind me. I spun but saw nothing. Then came a voice, mechanical and sharp. Warning. Primitive organism detected. I frowned. Primitive organism. Me. Great. I turned slowly and found a floating metal sphere with a glowing red sensor staring at me. It pointed a thin barrel in my face. I instinctively raised my hand. Human detected. Threat level insignificant. Permission to disintegrate. I did not like the sound of that. Look, my mom says I am significant. The drone paused, then spoke as if annoyed. Orders updated. Capture only. Disintegration off the table. For now. That was when a massive figure dropped from the trees behind me and slammed me to the ground with enough force to flatten a bear. Do not move, human, the creature growled. He was tall, broad-shouldered, armored in dark plates. Blue skin. For tusk-like teeth protruding from his jaw. Yellow eyes. My brain offered one helpful thought. Yup, we got aliens. He yanked me up by my jacket and shoved a plasma rifle under my chin. Who else knows of this crash? No one, I said. I mean, probably the birds. And my fishing rod. But I do not think they talk. The alien frowned. You mock me. You started it by calling me insignificant. The floating drone hovered closer. It spoke in a sarcastic tone I usually reserve for ex-girlfriends. He cannot help it, Crag. Humans evolved from banana-stealing monkeys. Sarcasm is how they mask emotional instability. I blinked. Am I being roasted by a flying toaster? Enough. Crag shoved me toward the crater. Our scout needs this human alive. Keep him contained. A smaller alien limped out of the broken ship. She was different from Crag. Graceful, silver-skinned, with violet eyes and white braided hair. Her armor was cracked, her arm bleeding glowing blue fluid. She looked young. Younger than me at least. Yet she carried herself like a soldier. Not of this earth, but hardened by duty. I apologize for my companion, she said. Her voice was calm but strained. I am Zara. We need your help. My help, I repeated. Yes, naturally. Interstellar emergency. Find the nearest lonely camper and ask him for help. Makes perfect sense. Your planet is in danger, she said. We are not here to invade. We are here on a containment mission. Containment of what? The AI drone hovered closer and projected a flickering red hologram. The image was of a monstrous silhouette. Muscular. Armored hide. Claws-like size. No eyes. No mouth. The silent hunter, the drone said. A creature bred to kill without sound. It escaped to this planet. We must track and terminate it before it multiplies. Wow, I said. What a coincidence. I also have that problem with raccoons in my garbage cans. This is no rodent infestation, human, said Crag. The silent hunter was last seen in this region. About 2 hours ago. So you are saying there is a monster nearby, I asked. Hunting. Silently. Excellent. Just what this camping trip was missing. Terror. Zara ignored my sarcasm. You know this terrain. You will guide us. Or what? Crag charged his rifle. Or we discover if your skeleton bends. I considered all my life choices. I did not like most of them, and I liked this one even less. Fine. I will help. But after this, we are even. You let me go. Agreed, Zara said. Help us find the silent hunter, and you walk free. The drone hovered beside me as Crag shoved me forward. Wonderful. We have acquired a smelly guide. Congratulations, everyone. Mission success. I stared at the hologram of the creature again. My chest tightened. There was something about it. A stirring of memory that did not belong. A whisper in my mind like a long-forgotten name. Have I seen this before? I muttered. Zara looked at me. Seen it? What do you mean? Nothing, I said quickly. Just a feeling. But it was not nothing. Because deep inside, I recognized the shape of that creature. And I knew with chilling certainty that this silent hunter had not come from the stars by accident. It had come for me. I had been lost in the wilderness before. I had faced storms, bears, wild boars, flash floods, forest fires, angry raccoons, and once a moose that looked like it had just gone through a divorce. But I had never hiked through a forest with 2 armed aliens forcing me to track a silent intergalactic murderer. Life has a way of teaching you that rock bottom does not exist. There is always a lower level. We left the crashed ship before sunrise. Zara said the explosion had already alerted long-range scanners somewhere in orbit, and she did not want whatever else might be looking for them to find us. That sounded perfectly logical, except for the part where I had a growing suspicion that I was now officially part of a galactic game of hide and seek, and the loser gets annihilated. The forest grew thicker as we pushed deeper into the ironwood wilderness. It was not a friendly kind of thick. It was the kind that swallowed daylight and smelled like secret. The trees towered overhead like giant skeletal claws draped in moss. Their roots knotted across the path like veins beneath dying skin. Mist slithered between the trunks, curling like ghostly fingers. Every step felt like going deeper into the throat of some monstrous beast. Crag walked ahead, scanning for threats like a paranoid bodyguard with anger management issues. His rifle swept across the trees every few seconds. He did not speak unless it was to glare at me suspiciously, which he did often, like he was trying to detect if I was secretly planning to betray him using only my eyebrows. Zara stayed close behind us, one hand occasionally gripping her injured arm. She tried to hide it, but every so often I caught her grimacing in pain. Whatever blue glowing liquid served as blood for her was still seeping faintly from a crack in her armor. I offered once to help bandage it. Crag responded by pointing his gun at my face and telling me to keep walking. I decided that was fair. Then there was Mira 7. The floating drone hovered beside me, occasionally dipping low or buzzing past my shoulder like a smug metallic mosquito. It had an annoying talent for commentary. Weak humidity levels, poor oxygen ratio, contaminated biosphere. No sign of intelligent life. Shield protocols remain unnecessary. I pointed at myself. Excuse me. Standing right here. Correction. No sign of intelligent life aside from me. I muttered to Crag. Your drone is a jerk. He grunted. Drone has a name. Mira 7. Her personality subroutine is adaptive. You mean malfunctioning? Adaptive, he repeated, annoyed. We moved in silence for a time, minus Mira 7 offering weather updates and unsolicited insults. Crag guided us away from the crash valley and toward a region known locally as Dead Pine Hollow. Nobody sane went near it. Hunters swore nothing lived there. Not birds, not insects, not even fungi. It was said the wind refused to pass through it. No one knew why. I had avoided it my whole career because the few who ventured near always came back wrong. They spoke of hearing nothing. Absolute silence that felt like death breathing down your spine. So naturally we were hiking straight toward it. Excellent. Zara broke the silence. You know this land, she said. How far to the center of this forest sector? About 10 miles, I said. Maybe more if we avoid the cliffs or marsh routes. She nodded. Traces of the silent hunter were recorded from orbit. This region shows heat anomalies. Heat anomalies, Crag said. Then it feeds nearby. Feeds on what, I asked. His answer was uncomfortably fast. Life. I stopped walking. Life like what exactly? Animals. Plants. Maybe forests. Or like life as in people. Yes. Just yes. Fantastic. Very helpful. The silent hunter is a bioweapon, Zara said. Self-sustaining. Perfectly engineered for survival. But the one we hunt is a rogue specimen. If you built it, why not just switch it off? Zara hesitated before admitting we tried. But it learned. Mira 7 added helpfully, it does not obey kill-switch commands or fail-safe neural trip. It evolved beyond its design. Sentience uncertain. But efficiency very high. That last part was delivered like a compliment, which concerned me. I tried not to sound terrified. So you built a monster you cannot control and it escaped here. Onto my planet. And I am leading it a guided tour through my favorite hiking spot. Correct, Mira 7 replied cheerfully. We trekked on. The air grew colder despite the rising sun. The birdsong vanished. Even the insects fell silent. It was as if sound itself feared to pass through this part of the world. And that was when I noticed something worse than silence. There were no tracks. No broken branches. No animal droppings. No paw prints in the mud. This was the quietest forest alive. And that should have been impossible. Crag stopped suddenly and raised a hand. Movement ahead. I crouched low behind a fallen log as he took cover. Zara drew a handheld energy blade that hummed dangerously. Mira 7 dimmed its light. We waited. A shape appeared through the fog. Slow. Lurching. Unnatural. My heart thudded inside my skull. It staggered closer, dragging one leg. A man. A human man. Clothes torn. Covered in mud. Blood across his face. Sir, I shouted before Crag slapped a hand over my mouth. Silence, he hissed. The man stumbled into a clearing and collapsed face first into the earth. His chest did not rise. He was dead. Zara approached cautiously and turned the body over. The man was pale. Eyes wide open. Mouth frozen in terror. His chest had sunken inward, as if something had sucked the air out of him. Or worse. No wounds, Zara murmured. Perfectly preserved. Cold but fresh. Mira 7 began scanning. Energy traces detected. Bio-pattern extraction. Minimal decay. Cellular consumption present. What does that mean? I asked. He was drained, Mira 7 said. Life energy removed. Neural field extracted. Field what? Crag growled. Soul, Zara whispered. I had nothing sarcastic to say to that. I just stared at the man's body and wondered how something could leave a corpse that looked alive yet empty. Then it got worse. Much worse. The body twitched. Zara drew her blade. Crag aimed. We stepped back. The dead man slowly raised his head. His neck crackled like snapping root. His mouth opened. Nothing came out. No groan. No scream. Just silence. His eyes shifted and fixed directly on me. Then he lurched to his feet and ran straight at us. Crag fired and vaporized him in a single blast. A thick quiet fell over us again. Even my pulse felt muted, like my body was scared to make too much noise. We have entered its feeding territory, Zara said grimly. Which means what exactly? I asked. Crag's eyes narrowed. It knows we are here. I took a long breath. I hated how cold the air felt inside my lungs. Something told me we were being watched. And not by something simple. Not by something hungry. By something calculating. We continued on in tense silence. I found it hard to focus on the path. My brain replayed the way the corpse stared at me. Why me? Why did it look at me like it recognized me? The same way I had reacted to the hologram of the silent hunter. That same whisper of familiarity brushed against the back of my mind. Hours passed as we moved deeper toward dead pine country. Tall trees gave way to skeletal trunk. Gray wood. No leaves. The very soil looked sick, like it had rotted from the inside out. Crag stopped again and raised his rifle. Something had left claw marks along a nearby rock. Jagged, deep cuts straight through solid stone like it was soft clay. This is impossible, he muttered. The deeper we went into Dead Pine Hollow, the less the world made sense. Time felt like it slowed down, sounds disappeared before they left our mouths, and even the air felt heavy as if it resented being breathed. Every instinct I had screamed that we should turn back. Every logical part of me agreed. But between Crag's plasma rifle and Zara's desperate mission, I kept moving. Also, I had learned something very important about alien drones. They do not accept emotional breakdowns as valid excuses to abandon a deadly mission. We reached a clearing around midday, though the sun barely broke through the forest canopy. A strange chemical smell lingered in the air, metallic and sharp, like blood mixed with static. Fallen trunks lay across the ground as if something huge had smashed through them. The bark was slashed clean off. It was here, Zara said quietly. The silent hunter rested here recently. How can you tell? I asked, even though I was pretty sure I did not want the answer. Zara knelt and touched a bare patch of soil. Her fingertips glowed faintly blue as her scanner activated. Electromagnetic disturbance residue. Thermal depression. The ground molecules here are compressed as if something heavy crouched for an extended period. Great. So not only does your monster kill things silently, but it also meditate. Wonderful. Crag glared at me. You use words to hide your fear. I shrugged. Actually, I find them quite effective. You should try humor sometime. It might fix your personality. He aimed his rifle at my head. Try silence. I raised a finger. Good point. Silence is an underrated life skill. Zara cut between us before Crag added a vaporized human guide to his resume. Enough. We do not have time for petty conflict. The hunter is close. But so is something else. She looked around uneasily. Something about this place is wrong. Only now, I asked. Only now something feels wrong to you. Her expression darkened slightly. We should not speak too loudly. Sound attracts the wrong kind of attention here. I stared at her. You are tracking a creature called the Silent Hunter. And now you tell me sound is dangerous. Yes. You could have led with that earlier. Like 20 miles earlier. Before I started whistling. You were whistling. Crag sounded almost impressed. It calms me, I replied. Stop it then. Fine. The wind shifted and that metallic scent grew stronger, burning my nostrils. Something nearby was bleeding. A lot. Crag motioned for silence and crouched forward, carefully stepping around debris. We followed. My stomach twisted as we approached a ridge overlooking a ravine. Below us lay a massacre. Torn metal, shattered pods, and twisted alien armor were scattered across the ravine floor. Energy burn marks scarred the rocks. Smoke still curled from broken weapons. And the corpses, alien soldiers, armored like Crag and Zara, lay motionless in piles. Dozens of them. Some looked crushed, others sliced, but none of them showed any external bleeding. Their blood was inside, their eyes open, their expressions frozen in terror. Crag stiffened as he surveyed the fallen warriors. He growled low in his throat. Piran military squad. Elite class. He swallowed. These were my people. Zara stepped past him with a solemn nod. They were not killed by human weapons, and not by standard alien weaponry either. Their neural fields were devoured, meaning they were husks now. Empty shells robbed of anything that made them alive. I felt something watching us again. Something above, behind, everywhere. I fought the urge to run. The hunter was playing with us, circling us like a shark moving through blood. We must move, Zara whispered. If we stay exposed, we die. Wait, I said, pointing. There was something half buried in debris near one of the pods. It was a metal case, scorched but intact. Zara moved cautiously and picked it up. She wiped away soot to reveal symbols on the casing. Military encryption. High clearance only. She opened it, and her shoulders tensed immediately. She motioned us closer and showed us what was inside. A black crystalline object pulsed faintly within a containment field. Is that a bomb? I asked. Worse, said Zara. It is a beacon. The drone Mira 7 word. Clarification requested. Beacon of what variety? Zara hesitated. One that summons something stronger than the hunter. Crag growled deeply. They authorized an Omega call. She nodded grimly. I cleared my throat. Question. What is an Omega call? Zara stared at the beacon. It is a mandatory planetary purge signal. Right. A purge. Sounds manageable. Purge what exactly? Forests, cities, annoying people who talk too much. Crag faced me. All biological threats on the planet. I blinked. Biological threat. Does that include humans? Yes. Of course it does. So if your people find this beacon, they will blow up my planet. No, Crag corrected. They will sterilize it. Total life extinction. Quick and efficient. I sighed. I miss raccoons. Raccoons are simple. Before we could decide what to do next, Mira 7 emitted an alarm tone. Motion detected at 12 meters. Approaching fast. Crag pushed Zara behind him and readied his rifle. I gripped the only weapon I had found earlier, a half-broken alien blade that hummed weakly, barely functioning. My hands shook. The trees nearby bent as something massive darted between them. But it still made no sound. Branches snapped, logs shattered, yet nothing echoed. My brain could not process it. Sound should exist. But this thing erased it. Then I saw a flash of movement. Black skin. Bone-plated shoulders. A hulking silhouette moving on all fours. It clung to the rock face, perfectly still. Watching us. It was enormous. Taller than two men but lean and muscled like a predator built for speed. Its arms ended in claws capable of tearing steel. The skin looked alive, shifting faintly with pulsing veins of dark red light. But the worst part, the part that made my breath stop, was the head. It did not have one. Not missing. Not severed. It simply did not have a head at all. And yet, I felt it looking right at me. Target acquired, Mira 7 whispered mechanically. The hunter lunged. I did not have time to scream. It crossed the distance in a blur. Crag fired, but the blasts hit empty air as the creature vanished and reappeared behind him. It moved like mist and shadow, defying physics. Crag dropped to one knee as the monster slashed his armor deep enough to cut through metal. He roared in agony. I swung the alien blade wildly, actually connecting and slicing across the creature's arm. The cut sealed instantly like liquid metal fusing. That was unfair. Zara slashed with her blade in a violent arc. The energy weapon cut deep this time, making the hunter recoil with a silent yet visible fury. It spun and backhanded her so hard she crashed into a fallen tree. The monster turned back to me. I ran. Logic had left the room. I bolted down the ridge, slipping over rocks as my lungs burned. I dove behind shattered metal as the beast smashed the debris above me, tearing it like paper. It reached for me. Before it could strike, a plasma bolt hit it square in the chest. Reload, Crag roared. Move now. Zara was back on her feet, panting but alive. Mira 7 pulsed with alarms. The hunter vanished again. We stayed frozen, every nerve screaming. The air felt colder. My heart thudded so loud I feared it would give away our position. Then a horrible realization hit me. Where did it go? I whispered. Crag stared at me like I had just confessed to inventing gravity. His expression was a mixture of disbelief and the kind of rage that ends with someone being thrown through a mountain. I did not blame him. Saying I might know a galaxy-destroying monster with no head sounded insane, even to me. Unfortunately, everything about this nightmare was starting to feel personal in a way I could not explain. And that terrified me more than the creature itself. Explain, Zara demanded. Her eyes were not angry like Crag's. They were sharp, calculating, and filled with suspicion. You said you lost your memory. How? I raised my hands in defeat. Look, if I knew that, it would not be called missing memory. But I am telling you something is wrong. The moment I saw that hologram of the creature, it felt familiar. I thought maybe it was shock or fear, but this is different. It is like there is something inside my head trying to get out. Crag stepped closer and grabbed my shirt. You are lying. I am not. I swear I am just as confused as you are. If I had anything this monstrous on my resume, I would remember it. Unless someone erased it, Zara murmured. The idea hit me like a punch. Erased. People lose memories in accidents, not in surgical silence. My chest tightened as fragments of something flickered behind my eyelid. Metal rooms. Voices shouting. A cold light. A smell like burning circuits. All gone before I could grasp them. We cannot stand here arguing, Zara said. If the silent hunter is protecting this area, there is something nearby it does not want us to find. Or someone, Crag added. Mira 7, who had been quietly scanning the wreckage, chimed in. Energy signature detected 80 meters northeast. Possibly another structure. Artificial. We followed the readings carefully, avoiding any open areas. Every shadow looked alive. Every tree looked like it might open eyes. The silence became suffocating as we moved, and the deeper we went, the less the world made sense. Sometimes sounds echoed from directions they should not have. Sometimes light bent around things that were not there. Once I swore I saw my own shadow move in the wrong direction. Zara warned us that the silent hunter distorted fields around its territory, twisting sensory input. I wished she had warned me sooner before I began questioning my sanity. We reached a rocky slope that led into a ravine. Half buried under overgrown vines was a metal structure. It did not belong on Earth. It was alien, but old, far older than Zara and Crag's crashed ship. The walls were scratched and dented with age. The symbol on the entrance made Zara freeze. No, she whispered. What is it? Crag asked. This is Pirantech, she said softly. But this design is ancient. It predates our current empire by thousands of years. Crag frowned. Impossible. Our history archives never mention ships being sent to Earth. Then these are not official archives, Zara replied. Someone erased this from our history. I stared at her. You are saying your civilization has been to Earth before. And you covered it up. Mira 7 beat. Correction. Information was redacted. Unknown origin. Unknown purpose. The door seal was broken enough for us to slip inside. It was pitch black. Zara activated her wrist light, and we stepped into a long metal corridor choked with dust and debris. Every footstep echoed faintly, swallowed by the unnatural silence around us. We passed rooms filled with shattered consoles, burned holopanels, and skeletal remains of equipment once far ahead of human technology. The deeper we explored, the worse the feeling became. Something about this place made my nerves twitch. It was more than danger. It was like being watched by the building itself. Mira 7 found power nodes and restored minimal energy to the central control room. Pale emergency lights flickered on, casting the chamber in a sickly glow. A series of consoles hummed weakly. Symbols flashed, then stabilized. Zara rushed to one panel and began decoding the interface. Crag guarded the entrance while I walked slowly around the room. On one wall, something massive had been carved by claws. A message. I did not understand the symbols, but the depth of the gouges made it clear the author had been enraged, maybe afraid. Zara found something. She activated a terminal and a small holographic cube blinked to life, projecting a woman in Piran armor. Her face was scarred and exhausted, her voice shaky with fear. Research log. Final entry. The experiment has failed. The specimen cannot be controlled. It continues to adapt. Faster. Smarter. It has learned our traps, our weapons. It can mimic command signals. It is hunting us one by one. Crag stiffened. The woman continued. We thought we could weaponize evolution. Instead, we created a nightmare. The Council demanded obedience. They claimed it was worth any cost to win the war. But they lied. This was never intended as a weapon. It was designed for something else. Something they refused to tell us. Zara glanced at me nervously. The hologram flickered. We took extreme measures. We erased ourselves from its memory to weaken its hunting patterns. But I fear it learned to adapt even to that. It will find us. And when it does, it will reclaim what we stole from it. The recording glitched as something slammed in the background. Screaming echoed before distortion erased it into static. Then a final message. If anyone finds this, do not trust the Council. And do not trust the human. The hologram shut off. Crag turned to face me slowly. His expression was death. What does that mean? I do not know. Do not lie to me, human. I do not know, I shouted back. I told you I do not remember anything before 5 years ago. Zara approached me cautiously. How did you lose your memory, Rex? I shook my head. It happened in the mountains. I woke up in a cabin with injuries. Someone treated me but never revealed their face. They left a message telling me to leave the past buried. I thought maybe I was a soldier who suffered trauma. Or some intelligence agent who saw too much. But now I think it was something else. Someone erased me. Someone did not want me to remember who I was. Zara activated another console. This one required a biometric signature. She froze. Rex, come here. What is it? Place your hand on this sensor. Do it. I hesitated but complied. The moment my palm touched the panel, a beam of light scanned it. A series of Piran symbols flashed on the screen. Identity confirmed. Access granted. Welcome, Dr. Dalton. My blood turned to ice. My throat closed. The world spun. Doctor. Not guide. Not survivor. Doctor. The console pulled up files linked to my biometric ID. I stared at the screen. Project Silent Evolution. Lead researcher, Dr. Rex Dalton. Crag lunged forward with a roar and slammed me against the wall. You created it. You brought this horror to our worlds. I struggled weakly. I do not remember any of this. Liar. Zara grabbed Crag. Wait. Look at this. She opened a personal log file. A video flickered to life. It was me. Same face. Same voice. Lab coat. Cold eyes. I stared at myself speaking. We stayed in that abandoned alien facility for what felt like hours, though time had become as unreliable as the truth. My breathing was shallow. My thoughts didn't feel like my own. I had tried to accept strange things over the past 2 days, but nothing compared to watching a hologram of myself admit I wiped my own memory to hide from my creation. I did not know if I still deserved to feel fear, but I did. Zara kept replaying the message, analyzing data and pulling files from the console while Crag paced aggressively, wrestling with the urge to kill me. Mira 7 hovered silently for once, possibly because even sarcasm programs were not designed to handle this situation. I had 1,000 questions and 0 answers. Why did I build the Silent Hunter? How was it connected to me? Why did past me call it a prison? And most importantly, what exactly was trapped inside it? Zara's voice broke the silence. There is more. Multiple restricted logs. Some corrupted. Some still encrypted. But certain fragments are readable. She pulled open a text file with a title that made my skin crawl. Neural Binding Theory. The file referenced terms I barely understood. Bioelectromagnetic tethering. Cellular resonance fusion. Quantum consciousness drop anchors. There were diagrams showing 2 energy fields merging together to form a symbiotic loop. 2 circles locked with a jagged chain of light between them. One circle was labeled Subject X. The other was labeled Keeper Host. Zara zoomed in. Under the symbols was a chilling annotation. If host is destroyed, subject is released. I stared at it. The air felt thin. What does that mean? I whispered. Zara looked straight at me. It means the Silent Hunter is protecting you because if you die, something far worse is released. Something it was designed to contain. Your past self built the Silent Hunter as a prison. And that prison is bound to you. Crag slammed his fist onto a console and sent sparks into the air. So the creature will kill anything that threatens him. He rounded on me. You brought doom to both our worlds. You are the reason this nightmare exists. I didn't defend myself. I had no defense. For the first time, I wished the Silent Hunter would come crashing through the wall and tear me apart, because at least then something would make sense again. I leaned against a cold bulkhead, head down. I don't know why I did any of this. I swear. Zara placed a hand on my shoulder. There was no sympathy in her eyes, only a stubborn sense of duty. Right now it does not matter why. What matters is stopping the purge before your world is destroyed. And finding out what is trapped inside that creature before it is too late. Before I could respond, Mira 7 chimed in sharply. Incoming energy surge detected. 4 unidentified signals approaching fast. Concealment probability is 0. Crag moved instantly. They found us. We have to go. Zara shut down the console, pulled the data core from the terminal, and we sprinted down the corridor toward the exit. Before we reached it, a blinding light filled the entryway. Figures appeared like walking shadows through the glare. Their armor was sleek black, marked with blood-red insignias. Elite Piran war soldiers. Ahead of them stood one taller figure, wrapped in regalia like a general who fed on fear and victory. His eyes glowed crimson beneath his helm. His voice hit the room like a hammer. Rex Dalton. So this is where you have been hiding. I froze. I had never seen this alien before, yet I knew him. Knew the way he carried himself, the cold hatred in his gaze. A memory flashed through my skull. I saw this same figure standing over me in a laboratory. I heard his voice saying something I couldn't quite understand. Zara whispered the name with dread. High Chancellor Voruum. So this was the face of the man who commanded galactic purges. The man responsible for wiping civilizations from existence. And now his eyes were on me. You have been a difficult man to find, he said. I glared back. Sorry. I don't enjoy being hunted. Voruum smiled. But you do enjoy hunting. That was your purpose. Was it not? You are the only human in existence who mastered bioforge engineering. You bent evolution to your will. You built a creature that defied extinction. And like a coward, you erased yourself to hide from your gift. I didn't build a weapon. I built a prison. I backed away from him. What are you after? Why follow me to this planet? Voruum raised a hand as if giving a lecture. Because everything is broken. Every system, every species, every era of life inevitably collapses under the weakness of organic imperfection. But your creation, Rex, your creation is the template for survival. The silent hunter evolved without limit. It broke every chain of nature. Yet even it has one weakness, one flaw, one anchor. Me, I said. Yes, you. The neural tether. The binding key. The living lock. He pointed at me. With you, the silent hunter can be controlled. And with it under my command, I will tear down this universe and rebuild it in unbreakable order. You cannot control it, Zara said, stepping forward. The last scientists who tried are dead. Voruum turned slightly. Your loyalty is touching, Zara. But misguided. You were sent to find the hunter. Instead, you allied yourself with the one man who threatens Piran itself. I wonder, was it weakness or curiosity that made you betray your empire? She stood her ground. Truth. Suddenly, a plasma bolt fired. It wasn't from Crag. It wasn't from Zara. It came from behind me. From Mira 7. The drone shot one of Voruum's soldiers in the chest and announced in its usual robotic tone. New directive confirmed. Do not let the angry space dictator steal the universe. Crag roared and the room erupted into chaos. Energy blasts turned the corridor into a storm of light and shrapnel. I dove for cover with Zara while Crag tackled two soldiers head-on. For such a massive brute, he moved like a predator. One soldier fell. Then another. But more poured in. We cannot win here, Zara shouted. We must escape. And go where I asked. She pointed toward the deepest part of the facility. Down. Whatever your past self hid here is the one thing Voruum does not want us to find. We ran. For a moment I saw Voruum watching us escape, not chasing, just smiling. As though everything was going according to his plan. Mira 7 blew the doorway behind us with a plasma charge. Zara led us through a maze of corridors until we reached a sealed chamber at the heart of the base. The door was covered in strange runes. My runes. I stepped forward and placed my hand on the sensor. The seal unlocked with a vibration that hummed through my bones. The door opened. Inside was a single object, a cylindrical cryopod lined with wires and alien coils. And inside it, suspended in liquid, was a human. Not just human. Me. Zara's breath caught. The pod glowed softly. Another version of me floated inside, unconscious but alive. Identical face. Same scars. Same everything. Crag stepped back in horror. There are two of you. I stared through the glass, numb. The labels on the pod read. Source host. Emergency copy. Neural memory archive. Zara read the inscription. The silent hunter was not built to imprison one monster. It was built to imprison 9. 9 what I whispered. 9 minds. 9 linked beings. The air inside the hidden chamber felt heavier than the air outside, as if stepping across its threshold meant stepping into a truth so ancient and devastating that existence itself strained to hold it. I stared at the unconscious version of myself floating in the cryotank, my reflection mirrored faintly in the glass. I was looking at myself, yet every instinct recoiled. This was not a duplicate. This was a root, an origin. A truth I once sealed away. A truth someone never wanted released. Zara kept scanning the pod while Crag stood by the entrance, rifle raised. Mira 7 hovered silently, its lens flickering, for once unsure of what data field to calculate. Beneath the glow of dying machinery, I saw a label burned into the metal frame of the chamber. It was written in Piran script, but for the first time since this began, I understood it without translation. If you open this, nothing will ever be silent again. The ground rumbled beneath us. Dust fell from the ceiling. In the distance we heard the deep groan of metal tearing under force. Voruum's forces are breaching the facilities, Zara said urgently. We do not have long. He is not what we should fear, I said, never taking my eyes off the pod. Something else is coming. Crag growled. Your monster. Yes. It knows I am here. It has always known. I turned to Zara. The silent hunter has been tracking me since I lost my memory. That is why it came to Earth. It is bound to me. If it is coming, we should destroy it now, Crag said, gripping his rifle. You cannot destroy it, Zara replied. If Rex is right, then harming him releases whatever is inside the silent hunter. And if Vorum gets control of it, everything ends. New alert, Mira 7 announced flatly. Life readings approaching. Fast. Multiple entry points breached. Recommendation. Panic. Before we could speak again, a familiar unnatural silence crept over us. Every sound vanished. Even heartbeat. Even breath. The air in the chamber rippled like disturbed water. Then a shape appeared in the doorway. Black. Muscled. Headless. Watching. The silent hunter. I stepped forward before Crag could fire. No. Do not attack. If it wanted us dead, we would be dead already. The thing did not move. It simply stood there, waiting. That was when I saw 6 faint silhouettes behind it. Smaller, detached forms moving like shadows within shadows. Floating. They shifted, pulsing like smoke. Then I realized they were heads. Severed but alive, twisted versions of consciousness, hovering around the hunter in orbit. 2 missing. It carries them with it, Zara whispered. The minds inside. It is not killing to feed, Crag said coldly. It is killing to find something. Me. I said quietly. It has been clearing everything in the way to reach me. So what does it want from you, Zara asked. Why hunt you if you built it to contain something worse? I looked back at the pod. The word prison echoed in my mind. But so did 9. Not 1. 9. It wants to be free, I said. The silent hunter moved into the room, dragging behind it something metal and broken. When it dropped it to the floor, Zara gasped. It was the remains of a Piran data console, torn from the archive room. The hunter retrieved it. It lifted one claw and scraped jagged symbols into the metal floor. Zara bent down to read the message as it formed. Her eyes widened. It wants to show us something. The hunter stepped toward me slowly. It stopped only a few feet away and lowered its massive body until we were eye level. It reached out and pressed its claw to my chest. I did not feel pain. Instead, a wave of memory ripped through me. I saw myself standing in a vast lab surrounded by scientists. They were arguing. No, pleading. Rex, this is not containment. This is torture. We cannot hold them any other way. Then do not hold them at all. Destroy them. I built this system so we could protect the galaxy. This is the only way. They are not monsters. They were once people. I hesitated in the vision. People. Yes. They were once people. But corrupted. They were no longer what they had been. 9 brilliant minds lost to cosmic infection. I saw their faces. I saw them scream. Something ancient had invaded them. Something not bound by death. The infection had no body. It needed hosts. Hosts like them. Hosts like me. That was the infection I sealed inside the silent hunter. But I had not just used the hunter as a prison. I had used myself. I created the neural tether so the corruption could not escape unless I died. I had become the key, the lock and the warden. I staggered back as the memories faded. The hunter waited, watching. I know what it wants, I said. The silent hunter does not want to kill. It wants to die. It wants me to end it, to destroy the prison. Because the minds inside are in agony. And if you do, Zara said slowly. What happens to them? They will return to their true form, I whispered. They will be free. But so will the infection inside them. Crag aimed his rifle. Then we kill it now. Before Vorum arrives. Before it can unleash anything. I shook my head. Killing the host releases the corruption instantly. It would spread. Like a psychic plague. Consuming everything alive. Then what are our options? Zara asked. Mira 7 spoke up. Logical path detected. If the tether binds the silent hunter to Rex, then removing the tether without destroying either host prevents corruption outbreak. Translation, I asked. Separate me from it without killing either of us. Correct. But how? I asked. Zara stared at the pod containing my original self. The answer is here. Your true memories are inside him. If we awaken that Rex, he might know how to break the tether. I froze. Wake him. Or merge with him, Zara said. You are only a fragment. A memory construct your past self left behind to deceive Voruum. But your full consciousness is still in there. The ground shook violently. Explosions rang in the distance. This time sound broke through. The silent field was unstable. Failing. They are almost here, Crag said. Voruum entered the chamber then, stepping past the shattered doorway with a slow, deliberate smile. His voice echoed through the chamber. Then this ends now. He fired an energy blast at me. The silent hunter moved faster than thought and took the hit, shielding me. Its claws burned, but it didn't fall. Voruum snarled. Traitorous beast. Zara fired back. Crag charged. Mira 7 rammed one of Voruum's soldiers in the face. I ran to the cryopod. I slammed my palm onto the control panel. Release override. The pod hissed. The man inside began to wake. My heartbeat pounded. Voruum saw me. Stop him. Do not let him awaken. The silent hunter roared without sound and tore through soldiers like paper. Crag blocked 3 more and shouted over the chaos. Do it, Rex. The glass opened. The man inside gasped awake, coughing. He looked at me with haunted eyes. He was me. Everything I had forgotten stared through me.